Hello, everybody. So, this is going to be real short. This is not a reading. I'm going to do an introduction. Um, I get that the more the videos get out, the more people will subscribe that don't know me, which is a good thing. But I just thought I'd give you a little introduction. I, it's a very interesting story. So, about 22, 23 years ago, I was divorced from my first husband. I was one of those married at 20, divorced at 22. And I had a daughter who was born with a disability. And so by that age, she had had many brain surgeries, eye surgeries, revisions. She had physical therapies, a plethora of doctors and specialists. And I was a single mom going to college, doing the best I could. And I met one of my soulmates. And we were together for a while. And during one of the years we were together, they were from New Jersey, and we went up to there for the holidays. And we drove into New York City one day. And I'm a Florida girl. I'm Southern raised. We say y'all, baby doll, darling. Hi, how you doing? It's totally different up north. It was a culture shock. But anyways, a lot of the things that we tried to do or wanted to do, we tried to fit so much in. She just had to show me everything in New York. So one of the things that we did was I got a tarot reading, and I had never had a tarot reading before. And this woman, it was above a bar in this woman's apartment. There were stacks of laundry and kids and people running around, and it was just, it was a little weird. But this woman did my reading, and I totally dismissed most of what she said because it didn't fit in my mind. She said that I was going to have another child, and that child was going to teach me how to love a man unconditionally. Well, I had decided with my daughter's birth defect that I was never going to have any more children because I didn't want to risk another child having to go through such tumultuous beginnings. Okay. And just a side note, my daughter's nearly 30 now. She's a miracle kid. She's beautiful. She's been with her high school sweetheart for 10 years. She's independent. She's great. Other than some eyesight issues holding her back from driving, she is awesome. So that's just a little side note. But anyways, at the time, I was dead set against having any more children. So this woman told me that I was going to have a son, and I was going to learn all this stuff from a Capricorn and just many things. And then, I laughed off and went, yeah. Okay. Well, then we fast forward 13 years or 10 years. Okay. So when my daughter was about 13, I was getting together with my second husband, and I got pregnant. And a couple of days after I found out that it was a boy, I went out and I bought some tarot cards. And I started, fooling around with them. When I was 8 months pregnant with my son, we had a huge Halloween party. And, I was this huge pregnant lady. So my entertainment was I started reading tarot cards for people. Now, I had a little book about this big. It had like a couple sentences for each card. I knew nothing. But it came natural. And I read for people, and there were some huge epiphanies at that party that night that were like huge, monumental. And I look back now that I know tarot and now that I've learned the cards, I can see where those explanations were there, or at least at the root of it. But most of what I did was totally intuitive. I ended up losing those cards during our move. And when my son was about 2 years old, he was standing in line at the mall to see Santa Claus with all his older siblings. because my daughter was 13 years older than him, and my husband's children were 14 and 15 years older than him. So he was in good hands, and I left him in line to go see Santa Claus. And there was a Barnes and Noble bookstore. And I've always been a bookworm. And so I went in there and started looking, and oddly enough, what I got called to was a tarot deck. And so it was original Rider-Waite Tarot, which I still have, that's 15 years later. and I started reading for fun or for my friends or on the side or, just here and there for a while. And now we're going to fast forward a little further. And I went through a very traumatic experience due to a tragic accident. We lost my very young nephew at my house. And it was a life-changing epiphany. And it put me on a spiritual journey that I'm currently still on and doing great, and I'm here to share with you. So during my morning, I went to see a medium, and the medium that contacted my nephew, he was very young, when he passed, so vocabulary and all that. But he just kept saying to me in this session that I needed to play again. And then she told me that he was telling her that there was a box behind my dresser. So I went, excuse me, I went and I found said box. And in that box was my tarot cards. And so I took that as he wanted me to play again. And I started on a journey that healed me. It healed people around me. And it has changed my life. And so I spent 30 years working in hospitality. My whole life has been nothing but serving other people. And I don't mind that at all. I find it quite natural. And learning my astrology and learning my placements, I see that that's what I was designed to do. So I'm good with that. So I started reading, and I have self-discovered and changed so much in the last few years due to getting in connection with my source. And I'm hoping that, not only will you understand where I come from and why I read tarot, but anybody out there struggling with some stuff, that you might understand that we are conditioned from a young age to believe that God, that source, that all that is way out there. And it's not. It's right here. We're going into the age of Aquarius, where people are gonna, a lot of people are being called to ascend and to start on that spiritual journey. And we're gonna start figuring out as a collective that we're much more connected than people realized or were conditioned to not believe. When I was a little girl, I was raised by Southern Baptists. And I talked to God like he was my friend. I yelled at him, I cried with him, I talked to him. I had a huge spiritual connection. And I'm a triple Scorpio, so I'm kind of born into it. But my family, being the ignorant people that they were, went through a bout of thinking I was possessed by the devil, of thinking that I had multiple personalities. I don't know. They put me through the gambit. And so as I had other bad things happen in life, I tended to self-medicate, they call it, right? So alcohol, drugs, all of that. Anything that made the voices in my head numb. Anything that made the voices in my head numb, because I wanted to be normal. There is no normal. So part of this spiritual journey has also been 100% physical for me. Because up until the accident that took my nephew and sent him on to his next journey, I had physically developed so many ailments. I couldn't bartend or work in hospitality anymore because I physically couldn't do it. I was walking with a cane. The doctors, God love them, they do the best they can with what they're trained with, I guess. But they had me on so many FDA approved drugs. I was a lethargic mess. And after a while, you become numb to those drugs and you're still in the physical pain. So now you're adding alcohol on top of that, because most of my life I spent using to either, numb the inner pain or numb the physical pain. Well, on my spiritual journey, I'm getting reconnected with my source, and reconnected with who I am, what I'm supposed to do, and who I really feel I need to be. I got off everything. I totally treat myself now 100% naturally. I use healing crystals, I use herbs, I use vitamin supplements, I do meditation, yoga. I have rebuilt myself, body, mind, and soul. So, all that background, I did spill a lot out on you. I just want you to know that what I offer to you is genuine. I wanted to share a couple of quick little fun things for you. So I am Scorpio, and we in tarot are represented by the Death card, which it fits my personality perfectly for two reasons. One, everybody misjudges this card. And two, it's all about transformation. There's a sun that's always coming up right here. And the rosebud has bloomed. It's gone its course. It's time to fall off for a new rosebud, for a new beginning. Well, without ending something, we don't have new beginnings. Okay? And on the original Rider-Waite, the decks, it's depicted that there's a king and a peasant, because death comes to all men, and so does the death of all situations. I make jokes, you can't escape death or taxes. Scorpio is both. Because in our house, the 8th house, we are taxes. We are also other people's money. We are sexual intimacy. And we are orgasms. Excuse me. So I'm a triple Scorpio. My Scorpio is also in Venus, which means I'm a ride or die, addicted to love. I love everybody in my life. So when I say I love you and I wish you peace and love, this is not fake. This is who I am. Baby doll, darling, sweetheart, it's how I talk. I have been serving people from around the country and around the world my whole life. And you know what I've come to find out? That the more I am me, the better I do. When I try to act like anybody else, it just doesn't fit. Okay? So understand that I am the queen of transformation. I transform. That is what death does. We help people. We are healers. I watched a reading from somebody months and months ago, and they said, the world needs more Scorpios. A lot of things that I used to look back upon as like another thing that the world put me through, I now totally understand. So one last footnote for any of those people who are actually going through an ascension, a transformation, if you're just lost and you're looking for a direction, find something that connects you with Source, that lets you talk to God. Because you don't have to be in a man-made building to do that. And you have everything that you need to heal your body, mind, and soul. You just have to access it. And, since as human beings on this earthly plane, it seems to be one of our favorite things to do is to blame. We blame ourselves, we blame others, we blame circumstances. And the more that we blame, the more that we just bring that more into us. But when we learn, when we understand, when we get a different perspective and get an aha moment, well, then we bring good things into us. And that's all I wish for all of y'all. When I learn, it's been over the last year, I've really dove into astrology and numerology. because I wanted to learn more to give my clients a more, excuse me, rounded. I always burp when they agree with me. I'm so sorry. But to give my clients a more rounded view when I read for them. And I discovered that my houses, my planets, my chart absolutely describes me. Everything I went through, everything I go through, how I feel, how I think, and it's amazing. Because rather than blame the universe or blame my ex-husbands or blame my children or blame a boss, I now look at it and say, well, I'm designed this way, and that's not going to work. So I need to self-consciously act a different way, because knowing is half the battle. That goes for addictions as well as ascensions. If you know something, well, that knowledge propels you forward. So I hope you enjoy my channel. I think everything is timeless when it comes to tarot, obviously, because 10 years later, I got slapped in the face with it. I have people I've read for, and I think I'm reading for them for the month, and things that I told them about happened 3 months later. Or, it's just the way it goes. Time is relative, and we're all on different stages of our journey. And make no mistake, this is just a journey. When this earthly vessel dies, you're going to have a brand new beginning. Because that energy is just going to go on and ascend to your next situation, your next journey, your next life. So stop beating yourself up. I hope you find what I say in the cards helpful. If nothing else, like I said, knowledge is power. I always look at it as a heads up. Like I got a heads up, my teenage boy was going to wreck my car. You definitely want those heads ups. So anyways, I wish you peace and love. Bye, baby dolls.